Hey everybody, what's happening? What's happening? What's happening? Robert Kennedy III, RK3 in the house right now, and I am getting ready to do something with one of my amazing brothers. I haven't done this in a little bit. We do interviews. I've done interviews, but it's a pleasure to have my dude, Mike Powell. Mike, what's happening, brother?
Yes, sir. Good morning, sir. How are you? Good to be on with you.
Yeah. It's this is awesome, man. I think we've been looking to do this for a little bit. We connected, my goodness, several years ago. We sat in
Yep.
person a couple of times last year as well, and we're like, yo, we've got to do something together.
Yeah.
We got to
Yeah.
hang out because both of us are in this space where we really work with leaders and we work with
Yeah.
organizations and their leaders to help them not just become better leaders, but better communicators as well.
Yeah.
So share with us a little bit about what you got going on, man.
Yeah. So, thanks a lot. We definitely have been talking about this for a while. I'm so excited. I say, look at all these opportunities that have come as a result of this pandemic. We focus so much on the negative things that have happened as a result
Right.
of it, but a whole lot of good things have been going on, and this is one of them. So thanks a lot for helping us put this together and pull this off. I'm a consultant. We
Mhm.
have a small business, the Powell Consulting Group. It's a family business. So, my dad started the company back in '86 after he retired from the Army, and we've been grinding ever since. We focus on organizational development and training. So I'm a business coach. I'm an executive coach. I'm a facilitator. I'm a consultant. I'm a trainer. My role changes, depending on what day it is and what time it is and where I am. I work with leaders, helping them become more effective, helping them find solutions in their organizations. But we really like to focus on the human capital side of the enterprise and
Yeah.
how to make sure that people are working together. I always say that it doesn't matter how much money an organization has, how many smart people they have, and how much technology you have available to them. If people aren't able to communicate and work well together, if people don't take leadership as a responsibility and as a function that is shared by everybody, the organization is not going to be successful. Money and smarts and talents and technology and all that stuff can only get you so far. So we're on the side of the house that helps organizations and helps people come together so that they can work effectively.
Yeah. So I want to make sure that I see that we've got some people on. As you're coming on, just type in the comments. Just let us know where you're logging in from because we want to get some of your comments on the screen here. We definitely want this to be interactive. We want to
Oh,
share, and
cool.
Mike and I are just going to go back and forth a little bit, but
Yep.
we want to see if you've got questions on in the LinkedIn live this morning. We want to make sure that we can take some of those and answer some of those and just really have a conversation with everybody. So as it says in my background here, we're talking about staying connected as a leader. So Mike just shared a little bit about what he's up to. And I am a speaker trainer as well in the intersection of leadership and communication. My organization, my company is Kinetic Communications. And okay, cool. We got Tanya Morris from Atlanta logging in. Love it. Thanks, Tanya. Yeah. All right. So that's what we do. We work with organizational leaders who need to deliver critical messages, and we help them do
Yep.
that with confidence. So, okay, Kate Strunk from Laurel, Maryland. Cool. All right. Jody Krangle. All right. Oh, Jody and I, we have a podcast interview later. Cool. So she's listening in from Toronto, north of Toronto. Wow. All right, cool. All right.
Hey, Canada.
Yeah. So let's we got some more people. Claudia Kalu from Be More in between meetings and had to connect to gain some insights. All right, cool. Well,
All right.
speaking of insights, brother, let's see if we can get rocking and rolling on this thing. I'm
Yeah.
gonna share my screen and
Yep.
we're just gonna jump back and forth. So while I'm getting my screen set up, why don't we talk a little bit about why we felt the need to
Yeah.
really talk about this topics, how to stay connected. I know you talked about pandemic and all of
Yeah.
those things, but why now and what are the things that we really need to share with leaders?
Yeah. I think obviously, everybody in this pandemic is being forced to alter the way that they work and alter
Yeah,
the way that they engage. Our teams look a little bit different, our organizations look a little bit different, even our leadership styles have to be a little bit different. And so
yeah,
what I thought would be important is to really talk about how to connect as a leader, right? It's great to be a leader. It's great to be able to communicate with people. It's great to disseminate messages and make sure that you're pushing the right buttons and the trains are moving. But
yeah,
I think that we want folks to be able to do a little bit more than just communicate and share, right? We want you to be able to connect with your people, especially during this time when there's so much anxiety about
certainty. Yeah,
this environment. And so while we're trying to still be productive, we also have to deal with the reality that people are really scared, right?
yeah,
It's a lot of changes that are happening. And so as leaders, people are looking to us to kind of set that tone. And so, more than just the person that's directing traffic, a leader's role is also to make sure that they are giving their people the things that they need so that they can still feel good, so that they can still work and be productive and be effective. So, that's why I think that this is important, because it's a new environment is causing us to have to do new things.
yeah, yeah. So let's start with our list here, man. We're going to talk about the top 10 things that
Yeah.
leaders need to be able to do to stay connected in this virtual environment. And it's so critical, man. I've been getting a lot of questions from leaders because they are not sure of several things. Number one, some of them are not sure about the technology because they're like, oh, we
Right.
gotta have these virtual meetings. And then
Right.
they're having these meetings and they're trying to do them the same way like they would do it in person.
Right.
They think
Right.
some of the
Right.
same, and the communication is off, and they're not sure
Yeah.
when and what and how. So yeah, so let's talk about that, man. So
Yeah.
let's do our top 10 things that
Yeah.
leaders need to know to stay connected. So why don't you start off?
Sure. Sure. So for me, the first one is that leaders have to be flexible. We
Yeah,
have to be flexible. This is a new environment for many people. And the way that we have operated in our traditional environments may be a little bit different. One of the models that I really, really enjoy teaching and sharing with folks is the situational leadership model.
yeah,
And in the situational leadership model, if you can see the graphic on your screen, really talks about different ways that leaders can show up. And I think in this environment, what we have to keep in mind is that when situations change, as leaders, we have to change as well, right?
yeah,
And so we're in a different environment. And so, you can have a person who is a complete rock star, right? They can be your top performance. You see them every single day, they can get it done. And then you switch them into a new environment and they're absolutely lost, right? They don't feel the connection with their teammates.
yeah,
They're not able to get the FaceTime that they're used to. And so, as a leader, you have to adjust your style. And so it's really, really important for leaders to be flexible, right? You have to decide whether you want to be someone who is directing folks. Are you
yeah,
coaching them? Are you delegating? Are you nurturing their talent and helping them ask questions and figure things out on their own? What is it that you need to do for your folks to be effective right now? And I think
right.
that flexibility is something that's really, really, really key. I would love for us to have more time and I could go into greater details about situational leadership. But, basically what you have to understand is that when you're in a different environment, the situation may change, the
Yeah,
needs for your people may change. And so we want to make sure that leaders are aware that the style that they use, the behaviors that they demonstrate, while it has been effective in one situation, in this
hmm,
new situation, in this new environment, it may not be the same. So even if you're not changing, at least take some time to just assess the situation in the environment to
yeah.
see if what you're doing is still working.
Wow. I love what Robin is saying. Robin Linton is saying a couple of things. She said, situational leadership, a wonderful concept that leaders should increase their awareness about. And she's also saying not all leaders can do that effectively and
Yeah.
maintain his or her confidence. Wow.
Absolutely.
Wow.
Absolutely. Yeah, yeah. It's
Yeah.
not easy. It's not easy to pivot. I think based on the research, I think only 50% of leaders
Hmm.
are really able to use all of these skills, right? We all have our what I call our Romans 12 point font, right? Our default style that we use in every situation. But we can be flexible. It's
Yeah.
just something that we have to be intentional about and continue to practice. So practicing flexibility is definitely key in this environment.
Yeah. I'm glad you said point font. When you said Romans 12, I thought you were talking about this Bible verse.
Well, we could, but that would be another session.
Awesome, man. So let's go to the next one. So here's mine, man. So you've got practicing flexibility. Here's mine.
Yep.
Communicating with transparency.
Yeah. Yeah.
Communicating transparently. So here's what's happening. There are a lot of leaders or a lot of people in organizations that they have information, but because they're uncertain about the information, they withhold. And
Yep.
so there's a lot of leaders, they try to act like or seem like they know all of it or they've got everything together because they feel like if I fall apart a little bit or if I look like I don't know what's going on or if I portray uncertainty at all, then I'm not going to keep my people. I'm going to, they're going to run away or they're not going to
Yeah.
trust me or they're not going to do.
Yeah.
So they then try to appear like, yep, I know it all. I've got it all
Yep.
together.
Yep. Yep.
And especially in this time where people are uncertain, they don't necessarily need to know perfection. What
Yeah.
they do need to know is that you're not going to give up. What they do
Exactly.
need to know is that no matter what's going on and what's happening, that you're going to push through and you got their back in all of
Absolutely.
this, right? So if something happens to them, you're not just going to chuck them away. So how do you communicate transparently?
Yeah.
Sometimes transparently is saying, listen, I don't know the answer to that. I don't know the answer to that, but here's what I'm committed to. I'm
Sure.
committed
Sure.
to having some information for you by Friday, or at least connecting and communicating with you again on Friday, so that we have an expectation,
Yeah.
right? We
Yeah.
got this expectation. So it's really it's and people don't need to know and have all of the answers or know or need to know that feel like you have a right and wrong answer immediately. They just
Yeah.
need to
Yeah.
feel heard and they need to feel like they're not the only ones that are going through crazy at this
Yep.
time and that you as a leader are human, you understand it, and that you actually have feelings and can feel what they feel. So you've got to be transparent and letting them know that it's okay to not have it all together.
And what's funny about that is people can see right through your stuff anyway.
Yeah.
So you might as well, when you don't have it together, it comes through, right? You may think you're hiding, you may think you're getting over on folks, but
Yeah.
they can tell. People are smart, and so you all you're doing is just destroying your credibility
Yeah.
when folks feel like you aren't, being upfront with them.
Yeah, so I see a great question here. Kate Strunk says, "Do you think some level of holdback is okay, or is the idea for 100% transparency?" Okay, so when I say transparency, I'm not talking about telling people all your business and every moment and every piece and aspect of your life.
All right,
What
right,
I
right.
am saying is not being inauthentic with emotion. What I am saying is sharing with them that stuff happens in your world too,
Yep.
right? And that you don't have it all together, and that you don't have all the answers. We're all operating with some level of uncertainty right now. None of us knows what's going to happen in September. None of us does. And
Yep.
it's okay to say that, listen, I don't know. I don't know the answer to that. However, here's what we are doing right now. Here's what we are doing today. And
Yep.
here's what we're committed to continuing to build.
Yep.
You know,
Yep.
in
And,
some
and
ways, you go ahead, Mike.
yeah, and I was going to say that's as far as you really needed to go. You know,
Yeah.
you can say, hey, this is what I know, this is what I can tell you, this is what you can expect from me, and as long as you're following through on those things,
Yeah.
then people can honor that, right? But
Yeah.
it's when people start making promises that they can't deliver, when they're hiding
Oh,
things, when they're not on top of things,
yeah.
that's when, as who said that, Jody, that's when those BS meters start going off and those alerts start going off.
Yeah. Awesome, man. So let's move. Let's move. Go to your
Sure.
next one. I mean, we got these numbered, but we're just doing these out of order.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
Go ahead.
Yeah. So the next one is pay attention to process. Pay attention to process. That model is, a figure of an iceberg, and many of us are familiar with the iceberg metaphor. And if you look at that graphic, only 10% of that iceberg is actually visible, right?
Yeah.
And that's what typically organizations focus on when they're trying to solve problems, when they're trying to get results. They're looking at the goals and how do we achieve our goals and our strategies and our business processes and problem solving, and all those things are important, but it's the processes that are below the surface that are usually the things that trip us up. And so,
Mhm.
right now our processes have changed, right? We're in
Right.
a virtual environment. Our traditional things that we have gotten used to, our creature comforts, all of those things have changed. And so it's important now more than ever to pay attention to the process, pay attention to whose voices you're hearing. What are those signs that you're seeing? What are the warning signs? If you're a virtual leader and you have employees that you're working with, how can you tell when they may be having some problems? What are some of those red flags that let you know, something's going on? Hey, this guy's supposed to log into this meeting and he always seems to have problems with his computer, or I'm sending him a Skype message and I don't get a response for 20 or 30 minutes. Those are process issues that we have to pay attention to. And it's one thing to be able to walk over to somebody's desk or be able to sit in a meeting and see people's reaction. But, when you're in a virtual environment, you don't have those same opportunities. So those process things are still the most important parts of the business performance. And those are the things that can trip us up. And so if we're not paying attention to process, then
Mhm.
we're missing opportunities to improve.
Nice, nice. So Jody is saying maybe it's time to pivot on some of your processes that will hopefully serve you better heading to the new future. Yeah, that
Absolutely.
that's
Absolutely.
that's awesome.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So if you're watching this and you believe this is a valuable conversation so far, I want to encourage you to share it. Go ahead up to I think there's like the three dots, and share that with other people so that they can join in the conversation, and they can even get LinkedIn famous, right? You know what? We say people like Instagram famous.
Instagram famous. Yeah.
They can come on here and put their comments on. We can make them LinkedIn famous.
Yeah, we're gonna have some LinkedIn influencers today.
That's right. That's right. That's awesome, man. So let's go to the next one. So you said process, and here's my next one. It is connect through storytelling.
Absolutely.
Ooh, connect through
Yeah.
storytelling. Let me share that screen so everybody can see that as well. So connecting through storytelling. Now, I share that because in this time of uncertainty, here's what happens. Companies are looking at the bottom line, they're looking at data, they're looking at numbers, they're looking at information, they're looking at content, and we're overwhelmed by content. Right? You wake up in the morning and you hop on CNN, or you hop on Fox News, or you hop on MSNBC, and there's just all of this stuff coming
Yep.
at you. All of this stuff coming at you. And how do you stand out as a leader? How do you cut through some of the clutter as a leader? One of the ways to really do that is through emotion. Right?
Yeah.
What
Yeah.
emotion can you connect to in your people? And one of the best ways to connect emotionally is through storytelling.
Yep.
Storytelling. So when I say storytelling, that could vary. I mean, when I use the word storytelling, don't immediately go to Once Upon a Time.
Right.
Right.
Right. Right.
Because I know when I say storytelling, some leaders are like, fluff, right?
Right.
So
Right.
it's really about how to connect with the emotion and the why of people, right? Because if you
Yeah.
start giving them information that is just not connected to anything, and they feel like, well, you're just trying to use me, you're just trying to manipulate me, you really don't care about me.
Yeah.
You're
Yeah.
just you're wanting me to stay working so that your ends and your means get accomplished. But what are the
Yeah.
what are the journeys that you can take people on? There is some once upon a time in it, because in some cases you're going to need to share, okay, this is what happened. I remember in the recession of 2008, this is what our organization was doing. This
Yeah.
this is
Yeah.
what happened. This is how we made it through that. These are the ways that we kept our head above water. These are the
Yeah.
things that we did as a group, as a family, as a community, and here's how we did this. Right? So people can connect the current circumstance and current situation to something that has already happened, and they know that, yeah, there's hope, there's success inside of this. You can
Yeah.
navigate the murky waters. So
Yeah.
what are the stories? What are the stories that you can connect people to in your organizations? So
Yeah.
use storytelling as a means of communication for you.
Yeah, when I was in college, I was you ever been on a timeshare presentation, Rob? You ever done it? You ever?
More than I care to admit, brother.
Yeah, one of those crazy things. You're just trying to get your tickets to Busch Gardens or Kings Dominion, and they make
Yeah,
you sit through this long. Well, I used to do that in college, and I was down in Williamsburg, and I didn't know a whole lot, but one thing that I remember
yeah,
vividly, and the best thing that I took away from there is telling stories and helping people to understand the value and put them in the experience and put them in the moment so you can connect with their emotions, you can connect with their humanness, right?
yeah,
And that's what stories help us to do, is to really connect with people at a different level. Obviously a lot of people are logic based, and they
yeah.
need data and science and evidence and all of that stuff, but when you can connect with people at an emotional level, that can take you to places that even logic and numbers can't. So great tip.
Yeah, yeah, awesome, man. So let's keep moving. Let's keep moving. It's about 9:25, and we're supposed to be on here
Yep.
till about 9:45. So
Yep.
let's go
Yep.
with
Yep.
your
Yep.
next
Yep.
one.
Yep. So there's a body of work that I'm a big believer in. It's called the human element. And in the human element, we talk about three main behaviors that people demonstrate and practice. And those behaviors are inclusion, control, and openness. And so what I wanted to do was just talk a little bit about what these things mean and how they show up in a
Mhm.
virtual environment. And so the first one is to be inclusive, right? There's so much conversation around diversity and inclusion and what that means and what that looks like. But at the end of the day, what inclusion really means is helping people to feel significant. That's really what we want.
Wow.
We just want to show, and we want to show people that we matter. We want to feel like we matter. And so when you are connecting as a virtual leader, how do you make sure that people understand that they matter? You want to
Mhm.
make sure that people understand what are their roles?
Yeah.
What are the expectations of our roles? What does this look like? How do I show up? How do you value my contributions? Little things like making sure that when you're having a meeting, we can adjust the time for the people who may be on the West Coast and makes it fair for them so they don't have to get up, early in the morning to stay connected. Some of those things really, really make a difference because people want to feel significant. And when I feel included, when I feel that my perspective has been considered, when I feel like you have my back and you have asked me and thought about what I want and what I need, then I feel included. And so whether I can see you or not, as long as you're giving me that sense that I'm a part of something, I'm a part of this team. When I'm not around, I'm missed. My contributions are missed. My voice is missed. I feel significant. And so we want to create an environment where people can not just be included just because they are a number or they are a face, but they are included because we want to feel their value and want them to feel significant. So, how, as leaders, can we help people to feel significant and help them feel included? That's really one of the big challenges of working in this virtual environment.
Wow, and that's so important. And one of the trainings that I do, there's a number that I talk about, and it says 88% of people who leave employment do so for reasons other than finances.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Right. And
Yeah.
so how do you and so the flip side of that is only 12% of people leave because they're going to get a raise or more money.
Oh yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
how do you treat people? How do you connect with them in such a way that they remain, I'm going to use air quotes here, that they remain loyal and that they
Yeah.
remain connected to your organization? Making them feel significant
Yeah.
is a huge part of that.
Yeah.
Making them feel,
Yeah.
and there's something, I think a friend of mine said this to me the other day, and my pastor said it about last year sometimes. I don't remember who started this, but it was the 3-word phrase, I see you.
Yeah.
I see
Yep.
you, right?
Yep.
And my
Yep.
pastor was speaking, and he was like, listen, there's so many people in the world, and everybody's doing stuff, everybody's hustling, everybody's doing all these things, but sometimes you just gotta stop and let
Yeah.
people know that I see you. I
Yep.
see you.
Yep.
I see what you're doing, and I see all of the hard work you're putting in. And I know that you don't always get recognized, and I know you don't always feel included or even seen, but I want to let you know that I see you. So
Yeah.
how do
Yeah.
we do that as virtual leaders? Even in the face-to-face space, we're in
Yeah.
offices, and as leaders, we're kind of running by. We're just kind of
Absolutely.
hustling by. So how do we now, in a space where people are more isolated, let them know that we see them?
Yeah. I can't see you, but I see you. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Claudia says that leaders have to be more most clearly communicate or show in their style that they're inclusive of processes and background and differences, and all
Wow.
those things are so important because we're all at home now and we all have different situations, right?
Yeah.
I'm at home with a 7-month-old, and so if you hear a little bit of crying in the background, I need you to make sure that that's okay. I don't want to feel embarrassed about my 7-month-old crying. I need you
Uh,
to see me and understand that. And we'll talk more about that when we move to empathy. Go ahead.
yeah. All right. So let's go with the next one. So my next one is communicate frequently. And I want to share two things here. I want to share two. So the first one is communicate frequently. And the reason you want to communicate frequently is because people are isolated, because they're at home. It's so much easier for them to become disconnected.
Yep.
And yeah, they're in Zoom meetings. Yeah, they're in they're on their spreadsheets. Yeah, they're on the computer. Yeah, they're in their off Microsoft Office Teams, whatever. They're talking, but they can become disconnected from the leadership's message. They can become disconnected from that. So as leaders, you've got to communicate frequently. Let them know that you're there, that you're still in the boat with them, that you're still in the boat, and that you're still working just as hard to really help move things forward. Okay, so I'm gonna say the first one I said was communicate frequently, but here's the other one, and here's why I wanted to do this second piece right on it. You've got to also vary your communication.
Yep.
Right. So when I say communicate frequently, that does not mean send a newsletter every day only.
Sure. Yeah.
Right. That does not mean say, okay, yep, we're going to hop on a Zoom meeting every Monday or every single day at 8:30 a.m. or 9 a.m. So as a virtual leader, what are some of the different ways that I can connect or communicate with you? So I'm gonna ask you some of these, Mike. So I'm gonna list some, and maybe you can kind of chime in with some of them. So one of the ways that I can communicate with my team is through email. Okay,
Yep.
that's one way.
Yep. Yep. Yep.
Another way
Yep.
that I might communicate with them is via text. All
Yep.
right. What else? What else are you thinking, or are you
Yeah.
feeling?
What I like that I've heard a lot of teams and organizations doing is using some of those technology mechanisms that we kind of use in our personal lives that
Mhm.
maybe we haven't been comfortable doing in our professional lives. So group chats,
Yep.
using group apps, group me, or just creating group texts where we can all talk. It doesn't necessarily have to be a Facebook group or an Instagram group or any type of social media group, but some sort of way where we can all connect together through technology at the same time. Those have been really, really good.
Yeah.
I like the obviously the Skype calls and the Zoom meetups. I think those things are really cool to kind of just change the energy and change the vibe a little bit. So I think that works well. Jody is in on LinkedIn. She says Slack works really well.
Yep.
So that's another great tool.
All
Yeah.
right. Teresa is saying Slack, LinkedIn Messenger, FB for business. What? WhatsApp? Okay. Okay.
Yep. Yep.
Excellent.
Yep. Yep.
Excellent. So one
Yep.
of the things I'll point out with that, as far as a communication and varying it as well, I'm going to kind of tie this into the significance or I see you comment. One
Yeah.
of the things, especially where businesses are on social media, also they're on Facebook for business, or Facebook for the workplace. They're on LinkedIn. Are there ways of you acknowledging, and I'm going to use a Jamaican term, or bigging up your people on social media? Is there a
Yeah.
comment? Is there
Yeah.
something that, how back in the day when you used to go in a restaurant and there was employee of the month on the
Yeah.
wall?
Yep.
Right?
Yep. Yep.
Can we do that? Can we do that
Yeah.
with our people, with our
Yeah.
employees, so that they feel acknowledged, they
Yeah.
feel affirmed, and it's in a public forum, it's a public setting, it's a way of communicating. Hey, let's go back to this. Hey, I see you.
I
Hey,
see you.
your
Yep.
your work, what you're doing, even in right now, even in this time of uncertainty. Yeah, it's we love it. We love it.
Yep.
Thank you.
Yep.
Thank
Yep.
you.
Yep.
You know.
Yep. Yep. Yep.
Yeah. What else you got, man? Let me see. We've got a couple. Wow, we've got a few questions here.
Yeah.
Let's see if
So
we can
Kate,
go
yeah,
ahead.
let me jump on. Kate asked a question about connecting and engaging with the individual as opposed to the team. And I think in this time, thanks for that question, Kate. I, I have really encouraged my the leaders that I'm working with to use this time to do more one-on-ones. I think
Mhm.
one-on-ones are really, really important right now. And one-on-ones right now aren't necessarily just about business, right? They're not just task oriented conversations. Sometimes it's just a check in. How are you doing?
Yeah.
How's everything going? I know you had this going on with your family. I know this is going on at home. I know this has been a challenge. Is there something that I can do to help you out? Just to do a quick check in. So obviously, we have our team meetings and we want to make sure that everybody on the team is on the same page and things are moving ahead. But I think leaders have to be a little bit more intentional now about scheduling those one-on-ones with their staff, because again, you're not going to just walk by their desk or go to grab coffee or see them in the hallway and just kind of have those casual conversations. You really
Yeah.
have to build in that time intentionally to connect with your people that way.
Nice. Omar says he still connects. He still selects a game changer of the month
Yeah.
for his.
Yeah.
Yeah, awesome. Judy says she sends an email. She just sent an email to her IT managers to big up their staff who are working extra hard to keep them connected. Jody said something interesting. She said, "Keep in mind with social media, though, that is they own it. Okay, so LinkedIn, Facebook, they own the content. You don't own it,
Yeah.
so they
Yep.
could
Yep.
censor at their discretion." Yeah, just
Right.
something to be aware of. Yeah, definitely
Yep.
keep that stuff in mind. Awesome, awesome,
Yep.
awesome.
Yep.
All right, cool.
So the
So
next,
go ahead, man.
yeah. So I was gonna go because I know we're moving on time. So I was gonna go
Yes.
right on to the next one.
Yep. Go for it.
So the next one is control. That's the second behavior in this human element model. And with control, really what we are talking about is how do you empower people, right? How do you make sure people have the access to the information, the tools, the resources, the decision making, the shared resources, whatever folks need to do to perform their jobs. We want to make it easy for them to access those things.
Yeah.
And if they're not able to access it on their own, we want to make sure that we're available and they can reach out to us so that we can get them those things. When we talk about control, the feeling that people want to have with control is competent, right? You want to know that you can do your job and you're smart enough, you have the tools, you have the resources, you have the access in order to do the job. It's so frustrating to go somewhere where you're trying to perform and you don't have everything you need. I'm sure that you've shown up plenty of times to train, Rob, and the technology isn't working, the
Yep.
laptop isn't working, the projection screen isn't working, the live stream, something isn't working. And even though it's not your fault, we still feel like some kind of way, like I don't feel good about this. And so we
Yeah.
want to make sure that even in this virtual environment, that we give people the tools that they need so that they can feel smart and equipped to do their jobs. And
Yeah.
so that control issue is something that's really, really important to make sure that people are getting the feelings that they need to feel good. When we talked about inclusion, it was about making them feel significant.
Yep.
When we're talking about control, it's about making them feel competent and having the tools and the knowledge, the training, the skills that they need to be able to perform their job successfully.
Nice. Nice. You want to go with your next one?
Yeah, we can jump on in this last one. So the last one is openness. So when we're talking about openness, that's creating an environment where people can really feel that you like them, you are concerned about them, you care about them. I love the work of Brene Brown and Dare to Lead and talking about how do you as a leader demonstrate your empathy. How can you make sure that folks who are performing for you, you aren't just caring about what they're doing as a performer, but you're caring about what they're doing as a person. And so with openness, the more that I can talk about, hey, this is what I need. Hey, listen, I need to take a few extra minutes during lunch because I have to have a virtual doctor appointment with my kid, and this is the
Wow.
only time that I could do it. Hey, I need to run to the grocery store, and what's going on in this time, and this is the only time that I can do it. Is that okay? I want to be able to share those things. I want to be able to be open enough to say, this is what's going on in my life. This is what I need. I understand we have work to do, but if I can't get those things done, I'm not going to be focused enough to perform anyway. So how do you create that environment where people can feel open enough to share who they are and what they need? And then as leaders, can we be empathetic to say, yep, I get it. Do what you need to do. Let me know how I can help you. Let's check in another time to make sure things are still rolling. So that empathy and that encouraging the making sure people take care of themselves. They're not working too hard. They're not burning themselves out.
Yeah.
Making sure they have balance. All that stuff is important.
That's awesome, man. So let's end with this one. So this is the last one here, and I kind of wanted to low key have this one as the last.
Oh, you pulled a switcheroo on me. I wonder what was going on.
Yeah. So here's the last one. Regularly reconnecting to vision.
Yeah.
Regularly reconnecting to vision, because as we've been saying all along here, man, it's so easy to get caught up right now with, you're isolated, you're doing a lot of different things, you're not always sure. And as you do, I don't know about you, man, I feel busier. I feel a little bit busier now because I've got so many virtual meetings and just things are back to back, right?
Absolutely.
So
yep.
The busier that you become, the easier it is to kind of lose focus or lose sight of where you're headed.
Yeah.
Right. It can be easy to get your eye off of the prize or off of the destination. So as a leader, how can I regularly reconnect my people to what we're headed, who we are, why we do
Yep.
what we do, and where we're headed.
Yep. 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 Yep.
Right. So
Yeah.
and we assume that a lot of times we assume that simply because people, they work for the company, they know the name of the company, they get a check or a direct deposit with the name of the company on it, that they really know what we're headed towards, or
Yep.
where we're going. But people are inspired continually by leaders who have vision. And if you want to continually inspire your people, you've got to continue to remind them about that
Yeah.
vision.
And this is where, to come back to your point, this is where storytelling comes in and why it's so important, because our vision is our story, right?
Yeah.
That is part of our why, that is part of our purpose, that is the reason why we exist. And so we want to make sure that when we're having conversations and when we're engaging, we're not just connecting transactionally, right?
Yeah.
We're not just talking about deliverables and time and all of that stuff, but why does this stuff matter? Where
Yep.
does it fit in the grand scheme, right? You're not just pushing buttons. You're not just sending emails. You're not just clicking on a screen. You are actually producing
Yeah.
because it connects to something that's even larger than all of us. And so as we continue to engage our people, it's important to make sure we connect them with our mission, our vision, our stories, and our purpose.
Awesome, 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 man. I'm just kind of looking back through a few of these comments here. Jody says, folks in the remote environment need to be okay with letting go of some control. Ow. If the job gets done in the time it gets done in, there's no need to micromanage. All right. So
Yeah.
that's funny. That reminds me, there was a little cartoon that I saw the other day. It was these three people in this office building, and I don't remember the exact sequence of it, but pretty much they were meeting and they were saying, now we got to figure out another excuse for people not to be able to work from home.
Right, right. Yeah,
Right.
yeah,
So it was funny because I mean, it's like we've got this battle's been going on for I mean, it's over a decade at least,
yeah,
right? this
yeah,
this whole
yeah,
remote work from home, why you should, why people need to be in the office, and are they more productive or less productive, and now you're in a
yeah.
situation where you have to be.
You have to be. Yep,
you,
yep, yep.
you got to be, and now your people are at home and you really have no choice in that matter. And so you got to just now figure out, as a leader, how do I lead,
Yeah,
in that circumstance.
yeah. The old management by walking around. We can't do that anymore. And
Yep.
if you do walk around, you're walking around digitally. You have a digital footprint. So how do you do that? The value of FaceTime
Yeah.
and I'm not talking about the app on your phone. I'm talking about being in someone's office where they can see you. You don't have those same abilities now. And so,
Yeah.
as a leader, do you need to have meetings every hour because it's solving your need for FaceTime? It's solving your need to micromanage. Sometimes you do need to let go of control. And I think this is really a great opportunity and a great time for leaders to experiment with different behaviors.
Yeah.
Right. Because if it doesn't work, you say, oh, well, I was new to this and I was just trying something else out and it didn't work for me. And, we'll be back in the office soon. But there may be a chance that you can try something out new that you never would have tried in the office or face to face, and it could have tremendously powerful results for you. And so this is the time to experiment. This is the time to try things out, to get you out of your comfort zone. Because I think we're all out of our comfort zones
Yeah.
anyway. So, we can stretch a little bit more.
Yeah, and I'm going to say something this may be hurtful to some leaders, but I want them to hear it. I want them to hear it. Maybe one of the reasons that some leaders are micromanaging and going crazy in a time like this is because they themselves have lost connection to their why and their vision.
Absolutely.
Right.
Absolutely.
And so
Absolutely.
it's really about not just leading your people and reconnecting your people to what you're after. Sometimes as leaders, we ourselves need to go inside. We
Yeah.
need to introspect. We need to now sit back and evaluate and say, my goodness, am I still on track? Am I still headed towards where I thought I was? Who was I when I started this journey? You
Yeah.
remember that young, enthusiastic cat that was like, yeah, I'm going to change the world.
Yeah.
Am I still that person? Have I
Yeah.
changed? And,
Yeah.
because I have people that I lead now, what, who am I becoming?
Yeah. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Yeah, because we lose some of that. I mean, a
Yeah.
lot of us get promoted to become leaders because of our technical skills. But our technical skills is not what makes us effective as leaders, right?
Yeah.
Our ability to engage and inspire and motivate, those are the things that are really important for us right now. But if we're bogged down in meetings and
Yeah.
emails and reports, and we lose that spirit that we initially had when we even decided, yep, this is the thing that I want to take on. This is the journey that I'm going to put myself on. This is the path that I want to walk now. And so, getting back in touch with, why did I even decide to do this? What's in it for me?
Yeah.
It's got to be more than just a paycheck, right? I know you can't get that promotion and you can't get that bonus without accepting this new role, but it's got to be something more than that, something
That's right.
inside of you that makes you desire to be a leader and bring people across the finish line with you, is really what you have to get in touch with.
That's awesome, man. That's awesome. So I definitely want to. We're right at about time right now, but I see some people asking if this is going to be available after this, so that they can send it out to their staff. I see Judy's asking that. A couple of people are asking. Some people, another person said, "Oh, Egwu says we should put this on YouTube so that other people can access this after." So yeah, we definitely want to keep sharing this. I love this conversation, Mike. I love your energy,
Yeah,
bro.
yeah, yeah,
We were flowing, man.
yeah, man.
Yeah. So these are our top 10 ways of staying connected as a virtual leader. You want to tell people how to connect with you, Mike, so that they can help you, have you work with their teams or their
Yeah.
organization.
Yeah, so you can always go to my website, or our company's website is pcgconsults.com.
Mhm.
We also do systems engineering. So you'll be able to see some information about our systems engineering as well as any of our training courses and programs. If you want to connect with me via social media, MP Consults. Hey, Judy, MP Consults, MPCONSULTS, is all of my social media. So message me. Obviously, my LinkedIn should be near here somewhere, and you can catch me on LinkedIn. But certainly, we would love to come out and work with your teams. And, if you want me and Rob to come and do this session for you again, we would love to do that as well.
All right, cool. Let me see if I can get this on screen so people can see. So at MPCG Consults, is that correct?
MPC, no G.
No G. Okay. All
No
right, cool.
G.
Let me
No
get that off
G.
there. Let me get that off.
MP Consults. MP Consults.
Okay.
Yep. Yep. The website is PCG Consults, but I won't confuse you
There
anymore.
we go. At MP Consult. There we go.
Yep,
There
MP
we go.
Consults. That's my social media. You can message me.
Yeah.
Do all types of training and keynote speaking and partnering up with colleagues like Rob and some of us who are working in this field together. We would love to come out and do some work with you and your teams.
Yeah. Awesome. Awesome. So for those of you that were asking about this, yes, the live will be available for a little bit. We're actually going to download it onto our channels and get it onto YouTube, on both of our YouTube channels as well. And
Yep.
if you want to share it with your organizations, feel free to do that. We encourage you to do that. We're going to be having more of these conversations in the coming weeks. So look forward to hearing a little bit more. Get connected with us. Follow us. Follow PCG on LinkedIn. Follow Kinetic Communications on LinkedIn. And then we're going to do some more of this. I'm excited about what's to come, Mike.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you. It's too bad it took this pandemic for this to happen, but I think my guy Dave Martinez, the Nationals manager, he says sometimes bumpy roads lead to beautiful places, and so I
Yeah.
feel like we got to a beautiful place. So thank you, bro. Thank you. I appreciate that. Thank you, everyone, for tuning in and connecting with us. I really enjoyed it. Feels like we just started talking, and so I guess they gotta shut us up this time. But we're gonna do it some more because we could do this for hours and hours and hours.
All right, y'all. Well, we'll see you. Have an amazing week. Don't forget, speak up, speak out, lead well.